5 reasons you may not like being around people as you grow older. As we age, life takes on a different rhythm. The energy that once drove us to seek out social gatherings and endless conversations often gives way to a quieter, more introspective way of living. For many older adults, especially those 65 and above, the desire to withdraw from constant social interaction isn't a sign of bitterness or unhappiness. It's a natural shift. But why does this happen? Why do some of us find less joy in being around people as we grow older? Let's explore 5 key reasons grounded in real experiences, and discuss how understanding these can help us honor our needs without guilt or regret. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. Your energy is precious, and you've learned to guard it. As you grow older, you begin to understand that both physical and emotional energy is a finite resource. In your younger years, it was easier to move through life at a whirlwind pace, attending social events, managing relationships, and juggling countless responsibilities. Back then, the cost of extending yourself might have been just a little fatigue or a need for an extra cup of coffee. But now, each moment, each ounce of effort feels far more precious, and you've learned to guard your energy with care. Socializing, while enjoyable at times, can feel like a substantial investment of that limited energy. Every interaction requires you to listen, respond, empathize, and adapt to the dynamics of the group or conversation. It's not that you don't enjoy company or value connection, it's that the effort required to navigate these social landscapes often outweighs the benefits they bring. After decades of experience, you've likely grown to recognize which interactions uplift you and which leave you drained. With this wisdom, you've begun to prioritize peace over performance. Imagine the mental gymnastics of a loud family gathering where you're expected to engage with relatives you haven't seen in years, keep up with the rapid flow of conversation, and maintain an appearance of enthusiasm, even when your heart craves stillness. Consider the casual chatter at a social club or community meeting, where topics skim the surface, leaving you yearning for something deeper and more meaningful. These situations, which might once have felt invigorating, now feel taxing, pulling at reserves of energy you'd rather spend elsewhere. Yet this shift isn't simply about aging or physical limitations, it's about wisdom. You've lived long enough to understand that not all interactions are created equal, and you no longer feel obligated to spend your time on those that don't serve your well-being. The world often demands extroversion and activity, equating busyness with purpose and sociability with happiness. But as you've matured, you've realized that purpose and happiness often reside in quieter places, in meaningful conversations, solitary reflection, or the simple joy of being present in your own space. This understanding isn't about rejecting others, it's about embracing yourself. Solitude has become a sanctuary, a place where you can hear your own thoughts without the noise of the outside world. It's where you can reflect on your life's journey, cherish your memories, and dream without interruption. It's not loneliness, it's liberation. You're no longer seeking approval or validation from the world around you. Instead, you're listening to your inner voice, letting it guide you toward what truly matters. Yet, there's no denying that this shift can be misunderstood. Friends and family might question why you're not as social as you once were or why you choose to leave gatherings early or skip them altogether. Some may even express concern, seeing your retreat as a sign of sadness or withdrawal. But only you know the truth. Your choice to pull back is not about disliking people, it's about preserving your essence. There's a quiet power in this realization. It's the power of choosing yourself over societal expectations, of honoring your boundaries without apology. This isn't selfishness, it's self-care in its purest form. By guarding your energy, you're not just protecting your body and mind, you're also ensuring that the time you do spend with others is meaningful, genuine, and fulfilling. As you look back on your life, you likely see patterns and lessons that have brought you to this point. You've learned that relationships are like gardens. They flourish with care and attention but can also become overgrown with weeds if neglected. You've discovered that giving too much of yourself to the wrong people or situations leaves you depleted, while nurturing the right connections brings you immense joy. Perhaps most importantly, you've realized that your energy, like your time, is finite, and that spending it wisely is an act of deep respect for yourself. So when you find yourself retreating from the noise of the world, remember this: it's not about avoiding people, it's about choosing peace. It's about recognizing the value of your energy and using it to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. And in a society that often celebrates constant activity, this choice is nothing short of revolutionary. 2. You've been burned before, and you're wiser now. As the years pass, the tapestry of your life becomes woven with threads of both joy and pain. Among the most poignant of these threads are the moments of trust given and trust broken. By the time you've reached your later years, you've likely experienced the sting of betrayal, the disappointment of unmet expectations, and the heartache of realizing that not everyone values relationships as deeply as you do. These experiences leave a mark, not a scar that festers, but a quiet reminder that trust is a precious commodity and must be earned. In your younger years, trust may have come easily, even naturally. You offered your heart, your time, and your kindness freely, believing in the best of others. But, as life often does, hard lessons were taught: a friend who turned their back on you in a time of need, a family member who betrayed a confidence, a partner who broke promises you thought were unshakable. These moments stay with you, not as wounds but as wisdom. They shape how you navigate relationships moving forward, making you more discerning about whom you let into your inner circle. This discernment isn't about bitterness or cynicism, it's about self-preservation. When you've been burned, you learn to tread carefully, to listen not just to what people say, but to what they do. Actions speak louder than words, and you've become adept at reading between the lines, picking up on inconsistencies and subtle cues that might have once escaped your notice. You no longer rush into connections or pour your energy into relationships that feel one-sided. Instead, you wait patiently and wisely for those rare individuals who prove they are worthy of your trust. There's a quiet strength in this restraint. Though it can sometimes feel isolating, the world often praises openness and vulnerability as markers of a good person. Yet you've learned that not everyone deserves access to your heart. Some people see vulnerability as a weakness to exploit, and you've resolved to protect yourself from those who would misuse your trust. This doesn't mean you've closed yourself off completely. It means you've raised your standards. You've set boundaries, not as walls to keep people out, but as gates that only the deserving may pass through. Of course, this guardedness isn't always understood by others. Some may see your caution as aloofness or distance, mistaking your reluctance to engage as a lack of care. But they don't see the layers beneath, the history that has shaped you, the experiences that have made you who you are. They don't know the effort it takes to open up after being let down. They can't fathom the courage it requires to trust again when your past whispers that it's safer not to. Yet despite it all, you haven't given up on people entirely. Deep down, there's still a part of you that longs for connection, that yearns for the warmth of genuine understanding. But this longing is tempered by the knowledge that not everyone has your best interest at heart. So you take your time, you observe, you listen, you wait. You know that trust can't be rushed. It must be built brick by brick, moment by moment, through actions that align with words. Rebuilding trust after it has been broken is one of life's most challenging journeys. It requires vulnerability and courage, both of which grow more precious with age. But when you find those rare individuals who prove themselves over time, who meet your boundaries with respect and your trust with care, the rewards are immeasurable. These are the relationships that remind you why it's worth taking the risk, why opening your heart, even cautiously, can lead to profound connection and healing. And so you carry the wisdom of your years as a shield, not a barrier. You've been burned before, but that doesn't mean you're bitter. It means you're wise. It means you understand the value of trust and the importance of giving it only to those who have earned it. This isn't a weakness, it's a testament to your resilience. You've walked through the fire, and though it left its mark, it also left you stronger, wiser, and more attuned to what you deserve in relationships. Let others rush headlong into connections if they must. You've earned the right to take your time, to protect your peace, and to trust only those who prove themselves worthy. In a world that often demands openness at any cost, choosing to be cautious is an act of profound self-respect. It's a way of saying, I value myself enough to wait for what is real, for what is true, for what is safe. And that, above all, is a wisdom born of a life well lived. 3. You value depth over surface-level connections. As the years unfold, you come to realize the true value of meaningful relationships. In your youth, you may have filled your days with an endless stream of acquaintances and conversations, where the sheer act of connecting, of being in the presence of others, seemed to carry its own kind of vitality. But as time passes and your life gains texture, your needs shift. You no longer crave the fleeting thrill of surface-level interactions. Instead, you hunger for depth, for substance, for connections that nourish your soul. In the later chapters of life, the art of conversation takes on new meaning. You've lived a full, complex story filled with joys and trials, triumphs and lessons. You've seen the seasons of life change, each leaving behind its own wisdom. What once felt engaging, casual chatter about the weather, light-hearted gossip about distant acquaintances, now feels hollow. It's not that you can't engage in small talk, you've mastered that art long ago. It's that such exchanges no longer resonate. They skim the surface of what it means to truly connect, leaving you feeling unseen and unheard. Your time, your energy, your very essence, these are treasures that you now protect with greater care. You've come to understand that not everyone is capable of meeting you in the places where real connection happens. It takes vulnerability, curiosity, and a willingness to explore the deeper questions of life. Why are we here? What have we learned? How do we find meaning in the time we have left? These are the conversations that matter to you now, the ones that linger in your mind long after the words have been spoken. Yet finding those who share your desire for depth can be challenging. Many people remain caught in the whirlwind of busyness, content with the superficial exchanges that fill their days. They may talk at length without ever truly saying anything, recounting facts, sharing anecdotes, and trading opinions, but their fears, dreams, and reflections remain carefully hidden. You can sense this reluctance, this resistance to vulnerability, and it only deepens your yearning for something more substantial. There's also a unique challenge in navigating these connections as you age. The world often overlooks the wisdom and depth that come with experience, treating older adults as if their voices no longer matter. You may find yourself in conversations where your insights are dismissed, your stories cut short, or your presence taken for granted. This can be disheartening, especially when you know how much you have to offer and how much life has taught you. But instead of growing bitter, you choose to grow wise. You recognize that not every connection is meant to be profound and that not every conversation needs to reach the depths you crave. Still, you also know the importance of seeking out the people and spaces where your voice is valued and your heart is understood. Whether it's a lifelong friend who shares your memories, a grandchild who listens with wide-eyed curiosity, or a kindred spirit you meet later in life, these are the connections that sustain you. Solitude, too, becomes a companion in your search for depth. When you cannot find the conversations you long for, you turn inward, finding richness within your own thoughts and reflections. This is not loneliness, it is a profound connection with yourself. In these quiet moments, you revisit your memories, contemplate your legacy, and savor the wisdom you've gained. You understand that true depth isn't just about connecting with others, it's also about connecting with yourself. And so you navigate this stage of life with grace, choosing your interactions with care. You understand that not everyone will meet you at the depth you desire, and that's okay. What matters is that you remain true to yourself, honoring your need for meaningful connection without settling for less. When you do find those rare, profound conversations, the ones that feel like a meeting of souls, they remind you of life's beauty and richness. They reaffirm that even in a world that often seems rushed and shallow, there is still room for depth, for substance, for the kind of connection that truly matters. This is the wisdom of your years, knowing that it's not the quantity of connections that enriches your life, but their quality. And as you honor this truth, you create space for the relationships that matter most, the ones that bring you joy, understanding, and a sense of belonging that is both rare and precious. 4. Social settings feel different as you age. As the years pass, the dynamics of social interactions begin to change. What once felt effortless and energizing may now feel heavy, even daunting. The lively gatherings, bustling rooms, and overlapping conversations can seem like too much, too fast, too loud. Social settings take on new weight in your later years. And it's not just about physical challenges like hearing difficulties or mobility issues, though these can certainly play a role. It's something deeper, a shift in how you experience the world and connect with others. Part of this change stems from a growing awareness of your own preferences and limits. In your younger years, you may have pushed yourself to attend every event, engage in every conversation, and maintain an active social calendar. The energy to keep up with the demands of a fast-paced social life seemed endless, and you may have thrived on the stimulation of being surrounded by people. But as you age, you begin to realize that these gatherings often come at a cost you're no longer willing to pay so freely. Crowded rooms can now feel overwhelming, not because you don't enjoy company, but because the chaos of so many voices and movement can leave you feeling lost in the noise. It's hard to follow conversations when everyone is speaking at once, and harder still to feel connected when interactions seem fleeting and superficial. You find yourself yearning for quieter, more intimate settings where you can truly engage with the people you care about, rather than simply existing as part of a crowd. Then there's the emotional aspect of socializing. Life, in its unrelenting way, has a tendency to take as much as it gives. You've likely said goodbye to loved ones, friends, family members, a spouse, people who once made social gatherings feel warm and familiar. Their absence is keenly felt, especially in group settings where their laughter, presence, and unique contributions to the dynamic are no longer there. These gatherings can evoke bittersweet memories, moments of joy now tinged with a sense of loss. It's not that you want to avoid these feelings, but facing them in the midst of a crowd can feel too raw. Social settings also come with their own unspoken expectations, which can feel burdensome as you age. There's a certain performance involved in being on, smiling, engaging, laughing at the right moments, even when you don't feel like it. In a world that often associates cheerfulness and sociability with health and vitality, it can be exhausting to meet these expectations when all you truly want is to be yourself without pretense. Yet it's not just about the social environment or the expectations of others. It's also about the way you've changed. Aging brings a heightened sense of time's value. You begin to see your days as finite, each one precious and deserving of intention. This realization can make you less willing to spend your energy on situations that feel draining or unfulfilling. Large social gatherings, with their noise, pace, and emotional weight, may feel like an inefficient use of your time you'd rather spend on more meaningful pursuits with people who truly matter. But this shift doesn't mean you've turned away from connection or community. On the contrary, it's a testament to how much you value them. You've simply become more selective, more discerning about where and how you invest your social energy. You're no longer interested in attending events out of obligation or maintaining relationships that don't bring you joy. Instead, you're focused on the moments and interactions that feel genuine and uplifting, sharing a quiet meal with a close friend, listening to a grandchild's stories, or having a heartfelt conversation with someone who truly understands you. This preference for smaller, more meaningful interactions isn't a sign of withdrawal. It's a recognition of what you need to feel whole. It's about finding connection on your own terms, in ways that respect your boundaries and honor your well-being. You've earned the right to choose solitude when it feels restorative, to decline invitations without guilt, and to seek out spaces that make you feel comfortable and seen. Social settings may feel different now, but that's not a bad thing. It's simply part of the natural evolution of life. You've grown to understand what fulfills you and what doesn't, and you're no longer afraid to prioritize your own needs. This is the beauty of aging, not losing touch with others, but gaining a deeper connection with yourself. And in doing so, you create space for the kind of relationships and experiences that truly enrich your life. 5. Your time feels more precious than ever. As you grow older, the passage of time takes on a profound new meaning. The days feel more finite, more fragile, and yet paradoxically more expansive in their potential. Each moment holds the weight of your life's accumulated wisdom, joys, and struggles. This awareness shapes how you choose to spend your time and, more importantly, with whom you choose to spend it. It's not that you've stopped valuing connection or the presence of others. it's that your criteria for these connections have evolved. In your younger years, it was easy to fill your calendar with endless social commitments. The parties, the gatherings, the casual coffees. They were part of a life brimming with activity. But as you age, the urge to participate in every invitation begins to wane. You start to measure time differently. It's no longer about doing as much as possible or keeping up appearances. Now, it's about what feels meaningful. Every choice to say yes to an event or a visit becomes a question of value. Is this worth my time? Will this enrich my life in some way, or is it simply an obligation? This newfound perspective often leads to a deeper appreciation for solitude and quiet moments. It's not about rejecting others or withdrawing from the world. Instead, it's about embracing the freedom to spend your time in ways that feel authentic to who you are. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself or maintain a frenetic social life to feel relevant. The external validation that once seemed so important has given way to a quieter confidence, a trust in your own worth independent of how others perceive you. Time also feels more precious because it has become intertwined with your legacy. You may find yourself reflecting on the life you've lived, the people you've loved, and the ways you've made a difference. These reflections naturally steer you towards spending time with those who truly matter, the family members, lifelong friends, or kindred spirits who have stood by you through life's ups and downs. Superficial relationships and fleeting acquaintances simply don't hold the same appeal anymore. You've learned to invest your energy in the connections that feel reciprocal, where the bond is grounded in mutual respect and understanding. But this focus on time and relationships doesn't come without its challenges. There can be a quiet ache in realizing that not everyone will understand your choices. Some may see your preference for selective socializing as aloofness or a lack of interest. Invitations might grow fewer as others assume you no longer wish to be involved. Yet you know this isn't about isolating yourself, it's about creating space for the things that truly matter. You've earned the right to prioritize what brings you joy and peace without needing to justify it to anyone. As time feels more precious, so too does the quality of your interactions. You find joy in the slower, more deliberate moments, a meaningful conversation over a cup of tea, the shared laughter of an old memory, or the simple comfort of sitting quietly with someone who knows you deeply. These moments are rich in their simplicity, reminding you that life's greatest treasures are often found in the smallest gestures of love and connection. Even in solitude, there is a richness that can't be overlooked. Time spent alone becomes an opportunity for reflection, creativity, and gratitude. Whether you're tending to a garden, reading a favorite book, or simply watching the sunset, these quiet moments offer a kind of fulfillment that no bustling social event ever could. They allow you to connect with yourself in a way that feels restorative and grounding. The beauty of this stage in life is that you no longer feel the pressure to conform to societal expectations. You've learned to trust your own instincts, following the rhythm of your heart rather than the demands of the world around you. And in doing so, you've found a deeper sense of freedom, the freedom to live authentically, to honor your own needs, and to cherish the time you have left. Your time is precious because you've come to see it as a gift. Each day is an opportunity to live with intention, to focus on what truly matters, and to let go of anything that doesn't align with your values. In a culture that often celebrates busyness for its own sake, your choice to slow down and prioritize meaning is a quiet act of courage. It's a way of saying that your life, your time, and your presence are too valuable to be spent on anything less than what brings you true happiness. And so you navigate these later years with grace, guided by the wisdom that only time can bring. You no longer measure your worth by how much you do or how many people you see. Instead, you measure it by the depth of your connections, the peace in your heart, and the quiet joy of living a life that feels true to you. In this, you've discovered one of life's greatest truths: that time, when spent wisely and intentionally, is the most precious gift of all. Honoring your needs and finding balance. It's important to recognize that withdrawing from constant social interaction doesn't mean you're isolated or antisocial. In fact, this shift often reflects a deeper understanding of yourself. You've lived a full life, and you've earned the right to choose how you spend your days. Here are a few ways to find balance between solitude and connection. 1. Focus on meaningful relationships. Invest in relationships that bring you joy and fulfillment, even if they're fewer in number. 2. Communicate your needs. Let loved ones know how you feel. Share that you value quality time over quantity. 3. Embrace your solitude. Use quiet moments to reflect, create, or simply rest. Solitude can be a beautiful space for growth and renewal. 4. Stay open to new connections. While you may prefer a smaller social circle, remain open to meeting new people who share your values and interests. 5. Practice self-compassion. Remind yourself that your preferences are valid. Aging with grace means honoring what feels right for you. A quiet act of rebellion in a world that often equates constant social activity with happiness. Choosing solitude can feel like a defiant stand. But it's also a form of self-respect. By listening to your heart and honoring your needs, you're setting an example for others, showing that it's okay to prioritize inner peace over external expectations. The next time someone asks why you don't join every gathering or engage in every conversation, smile and know this: your decision isn't about avoiding people, it's about embracing yourself. And that is a wisdom only a lifetime of experience can bring. This is your time. Live it authentically, joyfully, and unapologetically. After all, you've earned it. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.